Seiko have just re-released the SKX013. Is it any good? And do I recommend it to you? Let's get into it. Yes, and welcome to the MadWatch Collector Show. 4 new 38mm Seiko 5 divers have just been released and they are modelled by the old SKX013, a watch I actually own and was discontinued in 2019. A big thank you to Francis & Gay Jewellers for sending me 2 of the new releases in today. Thanks to them, I have the SRPK29, the black version, and the one that's already been given a lot of hype, the SRPK33.
That Tiffany sort of teal colour.
I'm going to give that one a good review. Then I'm going to compare the black version to my beloved discontinued 013 and see whether the £300 price tag is worth it. Are you Seiko 5 ready? Let's go! Okay, so here it is, the teal version. Jumping on the bandwagon of the Tiffany circus. Now in 2023, the popular trend at the minute is making smaller watches. We've seen it with the Tudor Black Bay 54, and it was only a matter of time that this watch was going to be re-released. But let's have a good look at it, shall we? So no surprises at the minute. It's a stainless steel case and bracelet watch. As I'm holding it, it does feel a bit cheap, but so does my 013. I can see that they've added drilled lugs. That's a great thing. We've got brushing on the tops of the lugs and polishing on the sides of the case. Obviously the dial looks very striking and the... What's that? Well, it appears we've had an administrative error. We've got silver framed markers with a gold framed handset. Well, that doesn't look right, does it? Talk about that more later. But first impressions, it looks pretty good. Quick spec check! So it's a 38mm case, 12mm thick, 44 lug to lug, and a Strapaholic 20mm lug width. The dial is protected by a Hardlex crystal. We don't have a screw down crown, but we do have a screw in exhibition case back. And this watch has a water resistance of 100 meters. So really a dive style watch and not a true diver. The bezel is just like I remember. Polished grippage, aluminium insert. I think there's less dots on the insert, but we'll see in a minute. No loom pip on the triangle. Well, that doesn't look right. The bracelet isn't brilliant. Hollow end links, hollow links. We've got a pressed clasp with only 2 micro adjusts, but we do have a fold over security with a double deployant. Right, let's look at the face.
Dial time.
Yeah, and this is a Tiffany blue without really being a Tiffany blue. It's certainly teal. It's a bit more vibrant than a Tiffany colour, but it does make the markers pop out, that's for sure. We've got applied markers filled with Lumabrite technology and an applied Seiko just below the 12 marker. To my eyes, the handset looks a little bit bigger than my original one, but I still have no idea why we've got a gold handset. No idea whatsoever. Can anybody help me with this, please? It looks weird. The watch has the same movement as its bigger brother, the 42mm Seiko 5, and that's the 4R36. Automatic hand wind and hacking movement, 21,600 beats per hour, and I've got to admit, it made me a little confused that I didn't have to unscrew this crown first, but I definitely do appreciate the fact that we've got a 013 case that hacks and hand winds now.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and this watch looks really good, doesn't it? I've got to admit, I do like that pop of teal colour. Definitely the main feature of this watch, not the handset. Obviously, I haven't sized this bracelet, but I can imagine it being not too comfortable. And if you've only got those 2 micro adjusts to give you the perfect fit, which are 5mm apart, you could be wearing this a little bit loose or a little bit tight. Out in the wild though, I do like this colour, and it does really pop out at you. So now we're going to compare the SRPK29, the new black version, with my SKX013. There are subtle differences that you wouldn't know about unless you owned one and actually could compare them. Right, so when we put these 2 watches side by side, we can see that the dial and the overall case has been made slightly bigger. And it's amazing what an increase of 1mm does to a case and a watch, doesn't it? My SKX does look a little bit more tooly than the Seiko 5. Looking at the bezel insert, and the minute dots have been taken taken away on the 5. In my view, it cheapens the look of that bezel, and the fact we've got no loom pip on the triangle just makes it look even more sparse. The SKX has a slightly lighter black dial. It has printed markers, not the applied markers from the Seiko 5. To me, it looks like the markers are slightly smaller than the SKX's as well. I've got to admit though, I do love that touch of orange below the hand stack, printed divers 200 meters. That's a special bit of text for me. We can also see that the handset has been enlarged in the 5, which I got to admit I do prefer. However, the second hand has been changed to a generic counterbalance lollipop one, and the SKX's was exclusive to that 013, and I wish they kept that. Interestingly, when we take a look at the lugs on the SKX, they have a more squared off finish to them. The new 5s are more rounded. If we put them side by side, we can see where the couple of millimeters have been shaved off the thickness of the new one. The actual bezel has been thinned, as well as the case. And also, something you'd only notice if you've got two of them to compare, the crown guards have been cut into a bit, making the crown a little bit more exposed. I think it's quite a good move, but a great upgrade for me is the drilled lugs on the new one. But that's even Seiko saying, this bracelet is not good, you're going to want to change it. It is, isn't it? I'd much prefer a stainless steel screw-in case back and not having a display. It's a sign to me that this watch is no longer a tool, but a marketing tool. In the SKX, you've got a 7S26 movement, beaten away the same as this one, but with this you can now hack and hand wind. That was the upgrade we were looking for in 2019, but would I swap this one for the SKX? No. For me, I think it's lost its character, and I think it's been brought back just to hop on the bandwagon of the small watch trend for 2023. So there's the new 38mm Seiko 5 diver. Style diver. This is definitely an entry-level dive watch, there's no doubt about it, but I can't help thinking it's at least £100 too expensive. The fact that this watch has a display case back with a movement that, let's be fair, is not pretty, is it? Shows you that Seiko are using this watch to pull in the new watch enthusiasts. But is the specs that they're giving us good enough to make someone look away from an Apple Watch and go mechanical? There will be a lot of enthusiasts buy this watch just because of the hype, the fact it's a new release, and that fear of missing out syndrome. Well listen, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon. I don't think this is worth £300, and the only way Seiko are going to take their prices down is if we stop buying these things. I'm a huge Seiko fan, and when I started my watch journey, the first mechanical watches I bought were Seikos. Now, if I was to start a watch journey, I honestly don't think Seiko would be my first port of call. The more I see and review Seiko entry-level watches, the more it makes me look on eBay at the old ones. If you'd like to buy this watch, go ahead. In the description below, you got Francis & Gay's website. But my advice is take a deeper look in there, as F&G always do great deals on professional diver Seikos at a price that may not be too far away from this one. But what do you think of this new release?
Cash cow move?
Or are you gonna buy one? Well, thank you for watching. If you'd like a little more of the Mad Watch Collector, why don't you click here and join? Ha 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 ha! Or, if I've got you for a few more minutes, check this out. This is an absolute beauty of a show. One of my finest. Go on, click it. Click it. Click it.